V1, rotate.
Shortly after taking off from Bucharest airport,
That's not right.
a commercial airliner slams into the ground,
The airplane was completely destroyed.
killing everyone on board. Firemen are faced with horrible carnage. As Romania mourns, speculation mounts.
Flames before it hit the ground.
The same flight had a bomb threat 2 weeks prior.
Can investigators find evidence that foul play caused this crash?
Can't make that out. Can we play that again?
That's the captain?
It's a wintry Friday morning as the crew of Tarom Flight 371 prepares for takeoff from Bucharest's Otopeni International Airport.
Before takeoff checklist. Flight controls. Checked. Flaps. Flaps at 15. Confirmed. Checklist complete.
49 passengers are on board the Airbus A310, bound for Brussels.
Looks like we'll have room to spread out.
Terry Chung is a financial advisor on her way home to the US after a work stint in Bucharest.
I knew Terry Chung. We were working with the National Bank of Romania. She was a terrific advisor, and she was a terrific person. We were so fortunate to have people like Terry Chung.
Perfect March weather.
In spite of the snow, the flight is on schedule.
Flight 371, cleared for takeoff.
371, cleared for takeoff. Ready for takeoff? Ready for takeoff.
First Officer Ionel Stoy is flying the plane on this leg. He and his captain Liviu Batanoiu are experienced airmen with more than 23,000 flight hours between them. Terry Chung is a veteran traveler too.
We get snow just like this in Chicago.
She was the kind of person that when she joins you in the airplane, she'll find out where you're from, then she'll talk about herself for a little bit, and you'll be friends the moment you're sitting down.
The A310 is the modern new jewel in the fleet for Tarom, Romania's state airline.
Thrust cyan. Thrust cyan. Checked.
It's at the leading edge of a new generation of fully automated passenger jets.
The A310 greatly enhanced automation. It was really a paradigm shift in terms of what the transport category aircraft was going to look like in the future.
V1, rotate. You handle the controls, I will guard the throttles.
While the first officer flies the plane, the captain monitors the plane's thrust levels, which are being controlled automatically by the A310's computer.
Well, the auto thrust greatly reduces the workload on the pilots because it manages the thrust required based on the aircraft performance, either takeoff, climb, descent, and in fact landing.
Everyone loved the planes and was impressed by the technology. It was very pleasant to fly the A310. It was very advanced for that time at Tarom.
Positive rate. Gear up.
It's a smooth liftoff.
Gear up.
From Bucharest, they'll travel 3 hours northwest to Brussels.
Give me a direct to Sierra Tango Juliet.
There it is.
Just after liftoff, the plane makes a left turn towards its first navigation point. Low clouds have reduced visibility to 0. But the pilots are well experienced in flying with only their instruments.
A little more left.
All pilots are trained to fly into what we call instrument meteorological conditions, IMC. With the flight displays, that typically does not present any inherent problems whatsoever. In fact, we are trained precisely for that.
Totally normal.
All of a sudden, the first officer notices something isn't right. The plane is banking sharply to the left and veering off course.
371, confirm crossing 10,000 feet.
The Airbus should be in a steep climb. But instead, it's diving towards the ground.
Terry Chung was an experienced traveler. She would have known that something was terribly wrong.
After less than 2 minutes in the air, the flight is in grave danger.
That's not right.
"371, confirm your altitude, please."
The plane has crashed into a field, less than 2 miles from the airport. It takes an hour and a half to contain the massive fire. 1,100 miles away in Brussels, an anxious wait for news. 32 passengers on the plane were Belgian.
I was at home and I received a call. The only information they had was that the plane had gone down.
In the aftermath of the fire, it's clear that there are no survivors. News reports show the aircraft disintegrated on impact. Wreckage is spread over a wide area. Firemen have witnessed horrible carnage. 60 people are dead, including the pilots, 9 other crew members, and all 49 passengers.
Everyone was shocked. We couldn't imagine what could have happened.
As news spreads around the world, the speculation begins. Was this crash the result of an explosion?
The airplane was completely destroyed. There were only a few pieces left, some of them blown away by the wind.
Sorin Stoicescu is the lead investigator from the Romanian Department of Civil Aviation.
Many people were tempted to say that the aircraft exploded in the air. This led to the idea that it could have been a terrorist attack, a bomb on board.
Was it a bomb, or did something else destroy this passenger jet beyond all recognition? It's the most urgent question Romanian investigators face as they race to the crash site. Tarom Flight 371 has slammed into a farmer's field just a few hundred yards from a local train station outside Bucharest. All 60 people on board are dead, making this the deadliest air disaster in Romanian history.
Tape it off. Keep the press away.
The wreckage is still smoldering, as lead investigator Sorin Stoicescu and his team set to work.
It was quite tragic what happened. The aircraft was halfway buried in the ground. Everything was spread around. It was unfortunate.
Assembled in France, the A310 is one of the most popular planes in the skies. Several hundred are in use by dozens of carriers around the world.
A lot of eyes were on this particular mishap. Because of the urgency to find the cause, there's a great deal of pressure on the investigators.
We need to get some heavy equipment in here.
There is little for lead investigator Stoicescu to see other than burnt aluminium scattered in a charred field.
We'll have to do this piece by piece. Nice and easy. Put that over there, please.
Most of the wreckage is buried in a 20-foot crater. It's painstaking work getting the pieces out of the deep hole.
The angle of impact was very steep. The speed was very high, and the plane got practically buried in the ground.
If that's the left wing, and that's the nose cone. Looks like it came in almost vertical.
The shape of the crater indicates the plane came in at a steep angle. It was pitched nose down at an astonishing 80 degrees.
What I saw proved that the impact was very powerful. The height from where the aircraft started to dive at 80 degrees and the force of the impact didn't allow any chance for survival.
Why did Flight 371 hit the ground at such a steep angle so soon after takeoff?
This certainly would have perked the interest of the investigators. Why would such an anomaly occur at that particular phase of flight? That's highly unusual.
Nose first, high speed. Could be engine failure.
Slowly, investigators uncover most of the plane, including the engines. The layers of wreckage paint an astounding picture.
The engines were buried in the ground. When the aircraft hit the ground at an 80-degree angle, the engines reached a remarkable depth.
That's the right engine. The left should be over there. We need to bring him out carefully.
The stakes are incredibly high. Relatives of the victims are being flown in to Bucharest to identify the bodies. Teams of investigators arrive from France and Belgium to assist the Romanian team. With close to 250 A310s flying worldwide, everyone wants to know if a flaw in the plane led to this catastrophic accident. Stoicescu examines the engines retrieved from deep in the crater. They're in bad shape, severely bent and burnt. But is there any indication that they faltered or exploded before they hit the ground?
No burn marks inside, only outside.
A first look shows no signs that the engines caught fire in the air.
Let's see the blades.
The rotor blades are badly damaged, to be expected given the force of the impact with the ground. But a skilled eye can tell a lot from the direction of the markings.
Do you hear? It's all impact damage.
The marks show the damage happened when the blades bent on impact, not in the air. The initial inspection indicates engine failure did not cause the crash.
They started their turn here, right on course.
Investigators wonder if the air traffic controller on duty has any insights to offer. They learned that the takeoff was perfectly normal.
371, cleared for takeoff.
Radio communications were also routine. But then,
This is what he should have done. Not this.
they learned that Flight 371 veered off course shortly after takeoff. It leads Stoichescu to a possible cause.
So, did they de-ice or not?
Stoichescu wonders if the light snow falling could have led to a buildup of ice on the plane's wings.
Bad meteorological conditions are a consideration in any mishap.
They did. What time was that? 9 a.m.
But investigators are told the plane was properly de-iced just before takeoff, and that the pilots were briefed on the weather.
In this case, they were appraised of the actual weather that existed at the time of the mishap.
The Romanian army is called in to help transfer wreckage to a nearby hangar. As Romanians mourn, speculation has reached fever pitch. Many think a bomb is to blame for this disaster. A steady stream of press reports feeds the speculation.
But some Romanian radio stations and newspapers are speculating that this was the work of terrorists. As to who may have been behind the bomb, well, the wild guessing continues, ranging from the mafia to Islamic fundamentalists.
The investigation has barely begun when a bomb threat shuts down Bucharest airport. An anonymous caller claims a bomb is on board a Tarom flight to Paris. Are the two events related? The plane is diverted, but no bomb is found.
You really have to take time to reconstruct the mishap and determine with all probability what the cause of the mishap was.
Still, eyewitness accounts support the bomb theory.
So, flames before it hit the ground.
More than one witness tell investigators they saw an explosion before the plane hit the ground. Investigators want a definitive answer about whether a bomb caused the crash. So they bring in the world's leading experts on bomb detection, the FBI.
Special Agent David Beisner.
Stoichescu. Appreciate your help on this one.
The FBI has good reason to believe Flight 371 was bombed out of the sky.
The same flight going to Brussels had a bomb threat 2 weeks prior. A phoned-in threat.
It's now up to the FBI to determine if this was an accident or an act of murder. FBI Special Agent David Beisner begins his investigation into the crash of Tarom Flight 371 with a flyover. He's looking for evidence of a mid-air explosion.
We flew the exact flight route from the end of the airstrip to the crash site, looking for debris that would have been blown off of the aircraft had a bomb gone off in air.
A mid-air explosion, like the one that downed Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland, will scatter debris over a wide area, away from the main impact point. Beisner wants to see if any small pieces are buried in the grass, hidden from the team on the ground.
It was a cut field, similar to a hayfield. There could be all kinds of debris down there in the grass.
Most of the wreckage has been moved to the hangar, but some telltale scattered pieces might be visible only from the air.
There's nothing here.
There's nothing out of the ordinary. No other debris or fuel or anything else on the ground.
Beisner isn't giving up yet.
I'll take that one.
He inspects the mountains of debris collected from the crash site. He's looking for pieces that show signs of explosives damage, burn marks, or specific etchings in the metal.
When there's explosives involved, there will be angles that the etchings go into the metal, which will tell you the location of the bomb.
Key pieces are swabbed for residue. And undergo chemical analysis.
You have to stick strictly to the facts, what you can see and what you can prove. What people tell you or what's in the news, that is something that you look at later.
After 5 full days of investigation, the FBI is confident it has its answer.
There is no evidence of an explosion on Flight 371 or any other criminal cause for the crash.
I just closed the case. It's unfortunate that the Americans died, but it wasn't an act of terrorism that caused their death.
Și am invitat autoritățile belgiene.
We invited authorities from Belgium and France to conduct their own investigations. One by one and separately, everyone agreed. It wasn't a terrorist attack.
At all. I personally am convinced it's an accident.
Those who witnessed a mid-air explosion were likely mistaken about what they saw.
What may appear to be an explosion to a person on the ground may be an aircraft component actually coming off the aircraft. Any number of things could give that appearance.
The FBI's work may be done, but Romanian investigators are still searching for the cause of the crash. Tarom pilot and instructor Aurelian Botezatu is asked to join the investigation.
I felt the pressure from the media and internally within Tarom after I was appointed as an investigator.
Botezatu needs to figure out if the airplane was mechanically sound. Was the A310 properly maintained? Had it been in for servicing recently?
Maintenance activities always play prominent to the accident investigation because they are in fact the last persons that had a hand on the mechanical configuration of the aircraft.
The passenger jet's logbook provides a detailed record of its flight and service history. It can tell investigators exactly what servicing and repairs the plane has undergone.
Looking good so far.
Botezatu finds that all scheduled maintenance was performed on time.
So nothing unusual?
Only this.
A couple of times in the previous year, the auto throttle hadn't moved properly during flight. The auto throttle commands the throttles to move whenever a change in power is required. On takeoff, the throttles are at maximum. Once the plane reaches the climb phase, less power is needed. The throttles should move slightly back automatically. Tarom pilots had complained that in climb mode, The throttle for the left engine sometimes moved too far back, all the way to idle. This placed the two engines at different power settings.
It wasn't a malfunction that repeated regularly. It appeared randomly.
Almost a year ago, the airline put a briefing card in the cockpit logbook, alerting pilots about the problem.
After takeoff, during climb, engine number 1 may go back to idle when switching from takeoff to climb power.
If there's a deficiency that's been identified by the manufacturer or by the operator itself, it's very important to disseminate that information to flight crews.
Tarom pilots were advised to keep a hand on the throttle lever to block it from moving too far back, a technique known as guarding the throttles.
They could manually hold it in place so there would not be a discrepancy between the thrust on the left or the right engines.
Investigators wonder why mechanics hadn't simply fixed the problem with the faulty throttle.
Thank you for coming. Yeah, please.
They turn to the maintenance team for answers.
We can't figure out why the problem was never fixed.
Investigators are told that during repeated attempts to fix the throttle issue, mechanics were never able to recreate the problem on the ground.
We know that that malfunction will probably reoccur again, but without the mechanics being able to actually analyze that malfunction on the ground, they don't know what the solution is. It's extremely frustrating.
Botezatu discovers the auto-throttle issue has been plaguing this plane for a very long time.
In the last year alone, there's almost 24 complaints about the auto throttle problem.
This one's from the captain.
Lead investigator Stoichescu discovers that Captain Batanoiu himself had reported this very problem months ago. The captain recorded it in the plane's logbook. He did what the briefing card told him to and held the faulty thrust lever from moving back. Everything worked out fine.
The system anomaly was known to the manufacturer as well as the operators. Pilots were trained to react and respond to the anomaly.
If he knew about this problem and he knew what to do, how could it have caused the accident?
Doesn't make sense.
Searching to understand why Tarom Flight 371 slammed into the ground shortly after takeoff.
V1.
Rotate.
Investigators turn their attention to the pilots themselves. They wonder if there's anything in their flight records to suggest they made a fatal mistake.
Okay, let's go. The captain first.
Captain Batanoiu spent his entire career at Tarom.
Graduated military flight school, 1969.
He'd flown more than 14,000 flight hours on 6 different aircraft.
Impressive. Lots of flight hours.
I flew with Captain Batanoiu. He was a prepared pilot, conscientious, attentive to what he was doing.
Next.
Pilot Stoy, graduated military flight school, 1968.
The first officer was also experienced. His training record is excellent.
You were a good match.
Yeah.
So, 2 excellent pilots in the cockpit that day.
Next, they check the medical records.
Captain Batanoiu, high mental condition, fit for long-range flights. Captain looks good.
The captain is 48 years old. The first officer, 51. But despite increasing age, their medical reports have never faltered.
First officer Stoy, close to retiring age.
Good level of information processing, motivated for flight.
Stable personality.
Physically and psychologically, both pilots check out.
Both were medically and psychologically fit to fly. They were very attentively tested at medical checkups.
Both plane and pilots have passed close inspection. After a long wait for the black box recordings,
Okay, let's do it.
investigators are eager to see what they have to offer. The Flight Data Recorder, or FDR, can tell them how the plane functioned throughout its brief flight.
Flight data recorders will procure a great deal of data, dozens and dozens of flight parameters, aircraft system component positions, switches.
The first minute of data shows nothing unusual,
371, cleared for takeoff.
confirming that the takeoff was normal, as the air traffic controller had indicated. But as the plane climbs and begins its planned left turn, the data soon goes askew.
What's that?
Look at the bank angle.
Instead of straightening out of the turn, the plane banks more and more sharply, reaching an astonishing 170 degrees.
And the attitude.
As the bank increases, the nose dips down, and the plane rapidly loses altitude.
Peak altitude is 4,627 feet.
From that peak, it takes just 19 seconds for the plane to hit the ground.
I've never seen that before. I never saw anything like that. But I had to face the cruel reality of the facts.
It's rolling at 335 knots when it crashes.
That speed with full fuel tanks.
It's no wonder the explosion was colossal. What could have caused such a dramatic loss of control? The mystery of Flight 371 is far from solved. To better understand why Flight 371 lost control before hitting the ground, investigators dig deeper into the flight data.
Engine parameters, please.
Stoichescu hones in on what the engines were doing.
Left engine's on top here, this one's the right.
The inspection of the engines didn't turn up any problems. But the FDR can tell them more than a physical inspection can. It gives a second-by-second breakdown of each engine's performance during flight.
Stop here, please. This is where it starts. Continue.
Both engines are near maximum power for takeoff, just where they should be.
Then the left engine starts to lose power.
It happens at 2,000 feet, and it creates an imbalance or asymmetry. The plane was already turning left on its flight path, but as the left engine loses power, it banks more sharply than it should and veers off course.
You got the thrust settings for the flight?
Yeah, I got them.
The trouble starts just as they move into the climb phase.
Which is where the throttle problem always occurs.
At 1,500 feet, the plane no longer needs the maximum power required for takeoff. The computer commands the auto throttle to move the thrust levers back, reducing power to both engines.
The moment the plane goes over 1,500 feet, you have to reduce engine power from takeoff power to climb power. This means reduction of the throttles.
But the mechanical problem with the throttle resulted in the left engine powering further back than it should, creating a huge power imbalance between the left and right engines. That imbalance forces the plane into a sharp left turn.
That explains the extreme bank.
Except the captain knew how to handle the problem.
Investigators wonder why the captain would not have guarded the throttle lever. The cockpit voice recorder contains 2 crucial minutes of audio that could answer the investigators' key question.
Okay, let's go.
Why didn't the pilots take control of the throttles to save the plane?
371, ready for takeoff. Ready for takeoff? Ready for takeoff.
Takeoff initiated at 9:06 a.m.
Everything sounds normal during takeoff. The crew is calm, and there are no unusual noises in the cockpit.
V1. Rotate. You handle the controls, I'll regard the throttles.
Stop the tape. That's the captain. Confirms he'll keep the throttles from moving too far back.
You handle the controls, I will guard the throttles.
The captain tells the first officer that he's ready to hold back the faulty throttle.
So he knew what to do.
It's a crucial piece of evidence. The captain was doing exactly what he was supposed to do.
Each pilot says verbally what he executes. So he says it out loud, and you can hear him on the recording.
Okay, they're in takeoff mode. Accelerating, gaining altitude fast, wings level, all good. Continue.
Flaps up.
Flaps lifted immediately after the command.
Slats in.
That's strange.
The captain reacts quickly to the flaps command, but he doesn't respond at all to the next one.
You was asked for flaps and slats. The flaps was selected in, but the slats never.
Why wouldn't the captain retract the slats?
Captain, are you all right? The first seat.
Can't make that out. Can we play that again?
Investigators hear 3 words that could explain the entire accident.
The first seat.
The captain tells his first officer that he's feeling sick. And then a faint sound, like a groan, is picked up on the CVR.
The sound is similar with what I'll do now.
Investigators think the sound could be a human in pain.
That's the captain?
Listening to the cockpit voice recorder from Tarom Flight 371, investigators make a shocking discovery.
After this sound, nothing.
After the captain complained about feeling sick, he falls completely silent. There isn't a word from him for the rest of the flight. The first officer seems to be all on his own.
The captain disappears from the recording on the black box as a voice and any kind of presence.
In my opinion, after this, the captain collapsed.
Investigators believe that Captain Batanoiu may have had a heart attack and either fell unconscious or died. During that time, the left throttle moved back.
Looks like nobody's guarding the throttle.
Creating a greater and greater imbalance between the 2 engines.
One of the pilots was incapacitated, so it was left to the first officer. His attention was greatly detracted, if you will, from the task at hand, flying the aircraft as he attempted to tend to the captain.
By now, the first officer is rapidly losing control. The plane is banking hard to the left, and instead of climbing, it's descending.
The nose is dropping like so. The plane is rolling left past 50 degrees.
By now, the plane is almost completely upside down, rolling and pitching and close to the ground. Investigators conclude that the first officer didn't know how serious the situation was until he came out of the clouds.
It was below 2,000 feet. He saw the ground and he was shouting, "Ah!" That was the last thing we heard.
Investigators finally understand what happened on board Flight 371. They combine all their evidence to paint a picture of what the first officer was up against. The cascade of problems unfurled quickly.
One minute. That's all it took.
First, the weather. Visibility was so poor, he couldn't orientate himself through the cockpit windows.
He couldn't see anything in the clouds. If it was clear out, their fate would have been different.
There's an old saying we have in aviation that one peek out the window is worth 1,000 cross-checks on the instruments. If you can look outside and immediately discern the horizon, things are much, much easier. In the clouds, absent a visual horizon, things become much more difficult.
With no visible horizon, he can't be sure if the extreme pitch and bank angles on his instruments are correct.
I don't think he was aware of where the aircraft was going and specifically what attitude it was.
The incapacitation of his captain would have distracted him as he struggled with the weather and the plane itself. The first officer was overloaded.
You had simultaneously the failing human and the failure of mechanical capability with the autothrust system. The combination of the two, the first officer probably couldn't see his way out of it.
The final report identifies 3 contributing causes for the crash. First, the left thrust lever moved back to idle, causing a large thrust imbalance. Second, the captain was likely incapacitated. And third, the first officer wasn't able to recover his out-of-control plane, something few people can fault him for.
He was an exceptional pilot. But in this case, there were 2 issues: the absence of the captain and the malfunction of the throttle. He acted based on his training and experience. His actions were reactive in this situation.
În toată această situație.
9 months after the crash, Airbus issued 2 service bulletins telling operators how to fix the auto-throttle problem on the A310. These fixes became mandatory just over a year later, and there were no further reports of thrust asymmetry on the A310.
Am reușit, zic eu, să fac o sinteză.
I managed to prove what truly happened with this aircraft.
Adevărat, cu această aeronavă, permanent am fost dominat de responsabilitatea de a face.
I was constantly pressed by the responsibility to ensure that such an accident never happens anywhere.
Producă nicăieri, niciodată.